In this video, we're going to look at the symmetry homework assignment. Let's start with questions 1 through 4. Zoom in here. The first thing I want to do when I'm looking at these problems is remember those steps. So step 1, I want to make sure that everything has an exponent. So starting with questions 1 through 4. If something doesn't have an exponent, I'm going to give it 1. If I look, the y doesn't have one. Anytime a variable or a letter doesn't have something, I'm going to give it a 1. Here again, this y does not have an exponent. I'm going to give it a 1. And here the y doesn't have one. The x doesn't have one. If a number does not have an exponent, I'm going to give it a 0. So I've got this right here. After I do that, I'm going to label everything exponents as even or odd. So I'm going to put an E under everything that's even and an O under everything that is odd. So ones are odd. So actually I can just write that out. This is odd, 1's odd, 3 is odd, another 3 over here, and then some 1's here. And then I will write even under my even things. 4 is even, 2 is even, and 0 is even. And then our final piece, we ask our 3 questions. So question number 1. Are all of the x's even? I'm going to check each one. Here, my x's are even. Check. In number 2, x is odd, so that's a fail. Number 3, x is odd, so another fail. And number 4, x is odd, fail. So only number 1 has y-axis symmetry. If yes, then y-axis symmetry. So next to number 1, I'm going to write y-axis symmetry. Switch back. There we go. Now I can clear everything and move on to question number 2. Question 2. Are all the y's even? I'm going to go ahead and check that again. Number 1, y is odd, so failed. Number 2, y is odd, another fail. Number 3, y is even, so that one passes this test. And number 4, y is odd again, so fail. If yes, then x-axis symmetry. So only number 3 has x-axis symmetry. Go ahead and clear our marks. Get ready for that third question. Question 3. Is everything the same? Not sure why my computer keeps switching over. And if we answer yes to this question, then it has origin symmetry. If yes, then origin symmetry. So for this, we're going to look at, make sure everything is the same. Here I have one odd, one even. They are not the same. Here I have two odds. So both the same, check. This one even, one odd, not all the same. And this one, two odd, one even. They are not all the same. So number 2 was the only one that passed that test and has origin symmetry. So now when we look at our answers, number 1 had y-axis symmetry. Number 2 had origin symmetry. Number 3 had x-axis symmetry. And number 4, it didn't pass any of the tests, so no symmetry. And that's it for questions 1 through 4. Just repeat the process through this worksheet. Let's go take a look at 5 through 8 now. So 5 through 8. Let's give those exponents. A 1 here, because it's a letter, a 0 to the number, a 1 to the letter. Now this absolute value, I'm not going to give it an exponent, but we can talk about it later. A 0 to the letter, a 1 to the number. 0 to the number, a 1 to the letter. Now even or odd. 1 is odd. 2 is even, 0 is even. Again, 1 is odd. Now here, we have an absolute value sign. That's those two straight lines on both sides of the x. That is always considered even. Here we have 3 is odd, 4 is even, 0 is even. And then lastly, this is missing a 0. 1 is odd, 0 is even. So let's look for even x's. So here, x squared, that's even. Absolute value of x is even. Number 7 does not have an even x, that x is odd. Same thing with number 8, 3 and 1 are odd numbers. So just 5 and 6 have y-axis symmetry. Now we're going to check the same thing, but for the y's. Number 5, the y is odd. Number 6, the y is odd. Number 7, the y is even. Good. Number 8, There is no y, so we're going to say that is even because the y is a 0. So 7 and 8 both have x-axis symmetry. Lastly, we check the entire piece. Number 5, odd, even, even, mixture. 6, odd, even, mixture. 7, odd, even, mixture. 8, odd, even, mixture. None of these are origin symmetry. They're all mixtures. So 5 and 6 have y-axis symmetry. 7 and 8, x-axis symmetry. Let's carry on to 9 and through 13. We'll finish it up. Step 1, give it those exponents. A 1 here, a 0 here. These two already have exponents. This will get a 0. A 1 and a 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. So are all the x's even? Let's go ahead and check that. Number 9 has no x's. No x's equals 0, which means it is even. 10. Actually, I forgot to label that. Let me go ahead and do that first. 1 is odd. 0 is even. 2 is even. 2 is even. 0 is even. 1 is odd. 0 is even. Odd for x. Even for 0. And odd for 3y. Odd over here and even over here. So now, are all the x's even? Number 9, there are no x's, which is 0, which is even. Number 10, the x is even. Number 11, actually I'm going to stop at number 11. We're going to go back to that one. Number 12, x is odd. 13, x is odd. So 9 and 10 have y-axis symmetry. Now let's check on our y's. For number 9, our y is odd. That's a 1. Number 10, though, our y is even. Skipping 11, 12 y is odd, and 13, there are no y's. So that's 0, which is even. So 10 and 13 have x-axis symmetry. And lastly, origin symmetry, everything's the same. We can see that in number 10. All the rest have mixtures. This one has origin symmetry, it had all 3. 9 was y-axis, 10 is all 3. 12, we didn't have any symmetry. 13 was x-axis. Now I skipped number 11 for a reason. Anytime you have y equals 0, or x equals 0, these two equations are always going to be all three. And we can see that if I were to graph that. So if I had a graph, y equals 0 is just a completely straight line, which I can fold in half wherever I want, and I can also flip it upside down. Same thing with x equals 0. So these are our final answers for the symmetry homework. Hopefully this helped. If not, please sign up for office hours, come to get extra help, or watch the video again, see if you can make some sense of it.